what metrics and what sorts of things should you be measuring in your marketing activities? Well, that's something I get asked quite a bit. I know some of you are working with a marketing agency right now, or maybe you have a marketing department and you're trying to extract the insights, the helpful information, and what's working, what isn't, and you're having a tough time. Well, in front of me is a dummy dashboard that sort of illustrates what's important. And to cut through all the noise, the first thing I'll say is usually you're just measuring the wrong things. That's usually the main problem. And the reason you're measuring the wrong things is A, you don't know what you should be measuring, or B, you literally lack the capacity to measure what you need to be measuring. If you sign up, if you do a bunch of Google ads or Facebook ads and you only use the metrics from that platform, you're not getting the full picture. You need to have end-to-end tracking with proper attribution tracking as well. So let's use this example. So here we have number of purchases, but keep in mind for you, it might be something else. It might be number of leads, or it might be subscriptions, or whatever it might be. But these are the key metrics here at the top. So we have the total purchases in this time period, we have the conversion rate, the total revenue, and the average order value. Below that, you kind of have these gauges that show you how the company's doing. So you can see they're scoring the neutral score for each one, but we're approaching $35 per acquisition, which is the target of the red. We want to be as low as possible over here. Well, over here, we want to be as high as possible. We want a conversion rate that is at least 6% or better. For paid channel return on ad spend, you want to get around 7x or greater. In this case, those are the goals that are set here. And you can see at a glance really how everything's doing just in this top section. But if you want to drill down and get more detailed, you have more specific channel-oriented performance. So over here, you can see the paid channels. And let's say you wanted to dig in on the Facebook paid side. So over here, I would just expand it, and you can see kind of a drill down into each campaign. Although Facebook paid generally has a return on ad spend of 3.38%, what are the highlights within that? Looks like the lookalike audiences campaign is doing twice as good as the interest targeting one, and the retargeting one's doing even better. So that indicates to me that you ought to double down on the retargeting one and probably either do an A/B test to improve the interest targeting campaign or just kill it. Same with Instagram paid and Google ads. You'd want to extract similar insights from that. And then down on the organic channel side, you might want to look into your referral traffic, whether it's from LLM, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Grok, or your standard website product hunt, in this case, Hacker News, Reddit, Indie Hackers, whatever it may be, and measure your individual email marketing campaigns. Now, when you measure organic channels, it's a bit different than the paid ones. Now, this is not just organic, but anything else. On the right, you'll look at there's engagements and clicks and impressions, but all these things don't matter as much as the number of purchases, the amount of revenue you get from that source, and the conversion rate, of course. Down here, let's actually full screen this so it's easier to see. You can also see the revenue by traffic source. So you can see, wow, looks like Google Ads are responsible for the majority. If you added everything up, it wouldn't be the majority, but it's the biggest channel. And direct traffic is the second biggest one. On the right, you can see just paid return on ad spend for the paid channels. So for every dollar you spend, you're getting $3.38 back, for example, on the Facebook side. And on the bottom, you can see a conversion rate to revenue generated graph, which you can see for the last period of 30 days. That's helpful to see. And now we have reached our final part of the dashboard, which are just the budget versus actual spend analytics. This is actually pulling in everything from headcount to what you spend on your marketing tools, your CRM, your email marketing software, and you're looking at what is our budget versus what we've actually spent. And what I like to do is have a little section down here that talks about insights. Anything you want to jot down that's relevant. Maybe you had a breakthrough campaign that did really well and you want to record that and attribute that as the success for a bump in the quarterly revenue from that source or something like that. And you can see your budget efficiency at a glance. You can see the quarterly revenue at a glance. If you were to change, say, another quarter, you would get that automatically down here. So this is focusing on not just, oh, how many clicks did you get? How many impressions did you get? That's like part of the story. But what really proves the value of your marketing efforts and your campaigns are what revenue did you get from your efforts in that channel that helps justify your spend, the time you spent as well on that channel, and it informed what strategically makes the most sense and provides the most ROI. And one way to get through this and accelerate through this very quickly is follow this template. Try something for 2 weeks. At the end of 2 weeks, do an A/B test where you're testing one variable. Maybe it's a subject line in an email, maybe it's the body copy of an ad, maybe it's a visual, if it's a visual graphic of some kind, maybe it's a time of day that you post if it's organic, maybe it's the type of blog if you're doing, blog post content. Pick one thing and then test that for 2 weeks. And always do an A/B test from there on out, testing different things until you have the best performing version of each. Once you're in a comfortable space, then try something new. Pick a new platform and try something. The key is to focus on what works, but also always try new things in case you strike gold doing something else. But all of that is in vain if you don't have a meaningful dashboard like this to track and attribute those successes to your efforts. So, a little more analytical and in the weeds when it comes to data than some of my other videos, but hopefully, if you're working with a marketing agency or you are working with your marketing team, you can use it as inspiration and say, how are we measuring the things that are really affecting our bottom line, and what metrics are we using to gauge the success of our campaigns? Hope you found this valuable, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.